Okay, we are back for episode 3. We'll do the same structure as episode 2. Poem explanation slash background maybe, then poem breakdown. So this poem is titled Son of William, To Want and To Not Have. These dramatic titles that I came up with when I was younger. And by younger, I mean like 2 years ago. Okay, so here's the poem. Sweet dreamer, today I pray for your success. I pray for the reaching of your wildest dreams, and when life has been good to you, and you find the sweetest solace your soul so desperately searched for, I pray that you lose everything. That it's taken from you without a moment's notice, that you're plunged back down to where you started in obscurity, the abyss that lies beneath the rocks called bottom, because I want to see fire in your eyes as difficulty taunts you. I want to feel fight in your spirit as you're strewn about with defeat. I want to taste the passion demanded of your soul as your calloused palms attempt the ascent back to the top. I pray life never leaves you bored. I pray adversity finds and defines you. I care not for the happiness of your countenance, nor the titillation of your flesh. I pray, O child, for the deep tissues of your soul, that as it goes for another tissue to wipe its nose, it knows breath can be drawn, time can be stopped, that you can stare into the face of what seems to be the final grain of sand in your hourglass before it drops. I pray for your soul to house meaning and purpose. I pray your teeth sink into something that you're willing to both stand and fall for. That the days ahead wildly inspire you like the woman who seems to escape your waking moments. That they give you something to lean into and to fall towards. Dear poetry. So, I kind of mentioned this in episode 2. One of the veins that I like to write in is like a very Shakespearean vein. Like this poem is not traditionally how I would write a poem. The way I like to write a poem is very like rhymey. I like everything to rhyme, and I like to try to. Sometimes I like to try to show off with some of my poems, even if it's like just to myself. I like to show off with how I can like place rhymes in the poem, not just in the traditional line endings, but like in between, like in the middle of lines, the beginning of lines, like ending one line with a rhyme and starting the next line. So it's like rhyme instead of rhyme here and here. It's like rhyme at the end of this line, the beginning of this line. Anyway, this song is like a total break from that. It's like a style that I tried to practice in and develop. I think starting about 4 or 5 years ago, and to kind of give myself a framework or just a category so I could understand this tool and this muscle that I was trying to develop. I titled this style of writing that I was developing within myself the My Son of William series. So it was almost like me just pontificating and talking in a poetic way. Um, but it wasn't like my traditional rhymey rhyme. See, I can rhyme. I'm showing off with how I can rhyme style of writing. Um, so it's kind of well, so I'll give the background. This poem is like your anti-motivational speech or like your counterintuitive motivational speech. So I first fell in love with like the idea of poetic style writing with rap music. And rap music at a lot of times can be very like braggadocious, boastful, but it's like very aspirational. So a lot of times you'll like the writers of these rap songs will write from an aspirational place. Like talk, they'll talk about something they're going to have, or talk about something as if they have it already. Like I aspire to this thing, and so a lot of my some of my poems are like these very like almost as if I'm in this place of feeling self confidence, and this was like a it's not it's counterintuitive in the way that it's motivational. It's like me talking to myself saying like, hey, I hope you get all the things you dreamed for, and then I hope one day I hope it all goes to pieces. Like I hope you're blown to a million pieces. I hope you completely fall apart, and I hope that you find success, but the success doesn't make you fat and lazy and spend your days floating on the water somewhere on some beach, soaking it in and grow. And when I think about the mind state now, that as I'm talking about it, when I think about the mind state that I wrote this from, it was from a very like younger version of me that was like just very fervor filled and spunk filled and like ambition filled, and like, oh, like my days were full of fire and just a lot of energy. And so I remember I think what happened was I would see older men who seemed like their flame had like dimmed down or waned, like they seemed kind of subdued or muted in life, like in their passions, and they didn't seem as like energetic and fervent. And I it always like bewildered me, like why do like older men seem disimpassioned about life? And so I remember thinking to myself, like, I wonder if that's like this trick or this spell that happens to you as you get older. You kind of lose a fervor about life and a willingness to fight for like the beautiful things in life, just or like fight. And like when they say, I'm not willing to die on this hill, I feel like young men have a lot of hills that they're willing to die upon. They're just like fixated over everything. And older men, they'll say, like, with wisdom, you'll realize like not that many hills are worth dying on. But as a young guy, when you see that in an older man who just seems like he's kind of hands off, laissez-faire, doesn't want to get involved, isn't willing to fight a lot of battles, I think I always saw that with this jaded view of like, you've just lost your fire and passion about life. So from that introspection observation, or however I chose to interpret older men around me who are like mentors and father figures and older brothers, people I look up to, when I thought about that dynamic, I think I just started to talk to myself like, I don't ever want to become that. So it's kind of written from this perspective of like, hey, I hope that along this journey of aging and growing older, and as you develop and mature in life, I hope that you accomplish in your old age all the things you dreamed about as a youth. And I hope that when you get to the place where finally you've had all the things you've ever prayed for dropped into your lap, I hope you lose it all, and you have to start the game over without a save file. Like, I hope you have to fight for everything again in your old age, so as to not become someone in your old age that you didn't really admire when you were younger. Hopefully you don't become someone at 50 that your 20-year-old self would look at and go, I don't like who I became. Which some of that is just naivety and immaturity, and some of that is, I think, rightly founded. So let's just go through it. Let's just go through the actual poem itself. So that first part, sweet dreamer, today I pray for your success. I pray for the reaching of your wildest dreams. And when life has been good to you and you find the sweetest solace your soul so desperately searched for, I pray that you lose everything. So again, it's like me talking to me. You can imagine, like, again, I think a lot of some of my poems, like when I'm talking, like it sounds like someone's talking from the outside to me. And I imagine different versions of myself, younger version, older version, future versions, past versions, talking to me in the now. So it's like some version of me in time speaking to me today, saying like, hey, we notice there's still, you still dream, and still the primary dreams of your heart still haven't been fulfilled. This person that we're talking about is a dreamer, sweet dreamer. Today that you're in, we pray truly, sincerely, we pray for your success, for the reaching of your wildest dreams. And when life has finally been good to you, when you realize all the things you've ever wanted, and you find truly the sweetest solace your soul so desperately searched for, we pray, I pray you lose everything, that it's taken from you without a moment's notice, that you're plunged back down to where you started in obscurity. This is like it's like a counterintuitive way of how I would motivate myself. It's like the way like a guy who's like an athlete or really into the idea of adversity or facing adversity. It's the idea that facing a seemingly insurmountable adverse circumstance would actually motivate like someone who just is filled with fire and passion. So that's where the kind of counterintuitive motivational, anti-motivational, or my version of a motivational speech or poem would be, rather than being like, I'm gonna win and I'm gonna take over the world and nobody can stop me. It's like, I hope you get everything and lose it all and have to fight your way back to the top, and that we have to watch you and wonder on the second go around if you'll actually make it. Like, I hope first go around the movie ends the way it's supposed to, and then I hope that we get a part two, a sequel, and that we have no idea if you're actually ever going to get it all back. I pray that you lose everything, that it's taken from you without a moment's notice, that you're plunged back down to where you started in obscurity, the abyss that lies beneath the rocks called bottom, rock bottom. Because I, this younger version of myself, thinking about the person who's still in process, dreaming to accomplish all the things, but still wants to see them accomplished, but doesn't want the older version of me to lose fire and spunk and fervor. Because I want to see as an older, I want to see fire in your eyes as difficulty taunts you. I want to feel fight in your spirit as you're strewn about with defeat. I want you to actually have to face multiple iterations of challenges in life, that you don't just easily win, but that like there's failure and loss and adversity that forms you and shapes you into someone that's better than what you would be if you just succeeded linearly. Like if you just went through life and it was easy and the dots all connected and things kind of fell into your lap. No, I hope you win, and then I hope there's this great twist to the story where you lose it all, and that as you're trying to make your ascent back to the top, you keep failing and losing. So it's actually this struggle story. It's like a great sports match where like it's neck and neck the entire time, and each side is fighting in tandem. Like it's constantly a struggle, but it's like this invigorate you. You're on the edge of your seat, glued to the screen, wondering what's going to happen next. I want to feel the fight in your spirit as you're strewn about with defeat. I want to taste the passion demanded of your soul as you callous those palms, attempting your ascent back to the top. I pray life never leaves you bored. That's where this idea comes from. Some like 20-year-old, 16-year-old, 25-year-old version of me that is thinking about a 50, 60, 48-year-old version of me, saying like, I hope you never get bored. Like we're sure at 22, we're anything but bored. We're full of life and fervor and passion. Dear God, please don't ever become someone who's 50 years old and bored, like men we see around. I pray life never leaves you bored. I pray adversity finds and defines you. I care not for the happiness of your countenance. I don't care for shallow enthusiasm, nor the titillation of your flesh, these momentary pleasures that are fleeting. I pray, O child, for the deep tissues of your soul, the kind of meaning that can only be developed by accomplishing success in adversity. I pray, O child, for the deep tissues of your soul, that as it goes for another tissue to wipe its nose, crying from all these, your soul crying from defeat after failure to maybe success, but then defeat, and then success, and then failure, and adversity, and then success. I pray, O child, for the deep tissues of your soul, that as it goes for another tissue to wipe its nose, it knows your soul as it's wiping its nose from this most recent defeat. It knows breath can be drawn, that it's still a fighting chance. Time can be stopped, that you can stare into the face of what seems to be your final moments in life. That you can stare into the face of what seems to be the final grain of sand in your hourglass, like as if you think about like this hourglass with sand coming down as like the metaphor for your life. And in that moment when you're fighting to try to get back to the top and facing adversity after adversity and thinking like, this is it, I'm done. This adversity, this circumstance that I'm going through right now is going to finish me. I pray that when you find yourself in that place in your older age, that you can stare into the face of what seems to be your final moments, that you can stare into the face of what seems to be the final grain of sand in your hourglass before it drops. I pray for your soul to house meaning and purpose. I pray your teeth sink into something that you're willing to both stand and fall for. Again, that idea of like me being a younger guy and feeling like a lot of men in their older age just are apathetic and not willing to die on many hills that young guys are so impassioned about. I pray your teeth, even in your older age, don't fall prey to what a lot of older men you've witnessed fall prey to, which is apathy. But I pray your teeth sink into something and hold on to it that you're willing to both stand and fall for, that the days ahead wildly inspire you, like the woman who seems to be escaping your waking, wildly inspire you like the woman who seems to escape your waking moments. I pray that whether or not there is romantic interest or this happy family or some spouse or some partner you found to share your life with in your old age, that whether or not that's present, that a woman, a spouse wouldn't be the precursor for your life to feel romantic, that there would be a pursuit on your lips and the grip of your jaw that you would be latched onto that would make the energy about your waking moments feel romantic to those around you, like you're chasing something with fervor and fire and romance in your eyes. I pray that the days ahead wildly inspire you like the woman who seems to escape your waking moments. May your pursuits of life and ambitions about life in 50s feel as romantic as your romantic relational pursuits did when you were like 16, 17, 8, young kids full of hormones and just wildly romantic and stupid. I pray the days ahead wildly inspire you like the woman who seems to escape your waking moments, this woman you dream about in your sleep. That the days ahead, that they give you something to lean into and to fall towards. This idea in leadership where like failure is not final, so fail forward. Like, don't let failure paralyze you, stop you in your tracks, and demobilize you, but fail forward. Continue to move forward. Progress. Like, fail with progress. Fail with a learning attitude. Fail with a mindset to adapt and to change. And don't ever let failure become this roadblock that completely knocks you off track and demobilizes. But I pray that like your ambitions and your pursuits in your older age give you something to lean into and to fall towards, dear poetry. And so one of the main things that was like the ambition that I'm referring to in my mind is my love and my pursuit of creativity and expression and orating and heralding beauty in the form of poetry and writing and creativity and kind of being like a courier of beauty of sorts. But yeah, that is episode 3, Son of William, To Want and To Not Have. If you stayed this long, thank you, and I will see you guys for episode 4.